Alright, so this presentation is going to be about part 3 for creating a marketing campaign for Steamworks Brewing Company. And basically what we're going to be going over in this presentation is our chosen media platforms that we're going to use for our marketing communications. We're going to go over our marketing schedule as well and our advertising schedule. And then we're going to go over the budget for all of that as well. So for our chosen media platforms, we really want to go for more low-cost options so that we can kind of more easily reach a lot of local people in a more efficient way. So obviously social media is going to be a big part of that. We're going to be on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and hopefully that should allow us to kind of reach consumers in a more targeted way. Provide a lot of good information on deals, things like that. Hopefully get more people to come into Steamworks through social media means. And then obviously we're going to go for more traditional forms of media platforms as well. So we're going to go try and get a radio advertisement on some of the local radio stations we have here. Going to try and get newspaper advertisements as well, so hopefully things like the Durango Herald, that sort of thing, we can get advertisements with those. Then we're going to try and do some direct marketing through email as well, so probably going to offer something like a rewards program and use that kind of direct marketing to hopefully bring in some more customers that way as well. And then we're also going to use events quite a bit, so we're going to be hosting events, we're going to be sponsoring events, we're going to be supporting events as well, basically helping us kind of gain more recognition among the public, gain a little bit of popularity as well, so hopefully we can get some more repeat customers, things like that from the local population here.
Hello, my name's Connor, and I'm going to go over some media examples as well as our media schedule. So for the purpose of this assignment, we thought it fitting to include some mock examples of media channels we will engage. This includes examples of media and accounts that would appear on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and email for Steamworks Brewing Company. Our first example is of Steamworks Brewing Company Facebook post. We created this to tailor towards local families as we believe our target market is most prevalent on this channel. Our next example is of an Instagram account that Steamworks Brewing Company could possibly create. The bio reads family-friendly vibes, delicious dining, and award-winning brews in one. Your ultimate destination for great food, memorable moments, and craft beer mastery, as well as a link to our bio. This account will be attractive to local families as well as anyone passing through town on Instagram. Twitter or X is a great platform for making announcements and advertising deals. Because of this, we create a mock post by Steamworks Brewing Company. The post advertises a 20% discount for local families. The final example we included is a 20% off discount that would be received by loyalty members in their email. These media examples show us how we can effectively communicate deals and promotions through our marketing efforts as well as reach our target market. Now we're going to take a look at our media schedule. So this media marketing schedule highlights Steamworks' advertising efforts throughout the course of 1 year using different marketing channels. We use some channels organically and others with a strategic spending mix. Busy months in Durango are highlighted green and represent an increase in ad spend. Slow months are highlighted yellow and represent relaxed spending periods.
All right, let's jump into the budget allocation. So for Facebook, we're going to spend around $20,000, which is 40% of our total. At Instagram, around 5% at $2,500. YouTube, we're going to do 0%. We're going to mainly be organic advertising and organic content on there. And that's the same with Twitter. Radio is 10% at $5,000 throughout the whole year. Newspapers, 20% of the total, which is $10,000 of the total. And then email marketing at 10% at $5,000. And then events at 15% at $7,500. And that totals out to be $50,000, which is our total spending for the whole year on ads and all that. So now we'll be jumping into the budget based out of the months and the actual numbers that we'll be spending in those months throughout the whole year. So for Facebook, in January, we'll be spending around $3,333.33, and this is consistent throughout the year on the actual months that we will be spending. So we took the percentage, which was 40%, as we saw on the last slide, and we divided that total 20,000 into how many months we'll be spending for the whole year. And so that number totaled out to be $3,333.33. And that's the same with February. And as we'll look into the other months on the next slide, you'll see that that number is pretty consistent on our Facebook spending. So for March, though, we'll focus on organic. Same with April, same with May. Facebook's our primary media that we want to focus on because that's where we believe our target market mainly focuses on. So we don't want to not be advertising at all. So during the slower months, we'll just be using organic ads and organic routes in order to advertise for our company. And so we'll look into Instagram now. For January and February, these numbers are consistent too because, again, it was divided by the percentage total that we'll be spending, and it was divided by how many months that we decided we were going to be using paid advertising. So Instagram in January and February is at $416.67. And then again in March, April, and May, we still want to advertise, but we don't want to pay to advertise because we have a slim budget. So we're choosing to organically advertise at Steamworks here. So for YouTube for January, February, and then into March, April, and May. So for January, February, it's going to be organic. We chose to have 0% spended on our total budget because we don't see a lot of our local families using YouTube that often. We feel like it was a lower, like a younger demographic. So with that, we still want to use YouTube and Twitter to our advantage, but we don't want to spend money on it because we think it's just going to be a waste of time. But also we want to reach the other younger demographic, so we still want to be in presence on those media platforms. So in March and April, we're not going to advertise at all on there on YouTube or Twitter. And then in May for YouTube, it's going to be organics again because it's leading up to the busier seasons. So we're going to start organic advertising on there again. And then as for Twitter, it's just going to be announcements or organic too. So radio, this we decided we're going to spend throughout the whole year. So this number, $416.67, that's consistent throughout the whole year, as we'll see in the next slide. And it's the same with newspaper, except we have more because we allocated more, a bigger percentage to that. So with newspaper, it's at $833.33, and that's consistent throughout the whole year as well. So, and then we can look into email marketing here. And as we can see, there's certain times that we chose not to actually spend money on email marketing, but I'll dig deeper into that onto the next slide. But as for January and February, we're spending $500, and in April and May, we're going to spend $500. But as you can see in March, we're not going to spend any on that. And then we can jump into events here, and this number is $625, and that's consistent with January and February, and also in May. And then we're choosing not to advertise or host any events or any charity events during those times. But then in May, leading up to the busier season, is when we'll actually start doing that again. And so now let me jump into the second slide so we can look further into the other months throughout the year. All right, jumping into June. So for Facebook, we'll be spending, it's consistent, as I said in the previous slide. So that number is $3,333.33, and that's consistent through June, July, August, and then December. And then so that totals out to be our 20,000 that we allocated, which is 40% of our total 50,000. Now looking into Instagram, that's consistent as well, that number, and that number is $416.67, and that's consistent through June, July, August, December, and then it totals out to be 2,500. And so September, October, November, we'll be using organic advertising for Facebook and Instagram. As I said in the previous slide, we still want to have our presence. Even though it is slower times, we still want to target the local families in Durango to keep us afloat. So we can further look into the rest of this. So YouTube and Twitter, again, that's organic throughout the whole year except for certain times that we've chose. So like our not busy seasons at all, we chose not to use any advertising at all, not paid nor organic. So that's important to look at here. And then to further go on for radio, newspaper, and email marketing and events, we can see that those numbers are still consistent all the way across. I'd like to point out, though, for newspaper in September and October, just September, and then also for events, we've chose not to advertise at all, not paid or organic. We just chose to just save our money there. And then as you can see in events, in the last slide, there was times where we chose not to, or we wanted to pay less, as you can see in our schedule. So what we did is we wanted to pay less in certain months, but then stack or load in the other months. So as you can see in October, June, and July, there's 3 days that we're not advertising at all, but we wanted to load up on the days. So this is pretty cool to see because we want to load up prior to our busy season, but then we also want to be advertising during our busy season, but having more ads and more presence going out before we pick up our business and before more tourists come in and before local families start eating out more. We want to make sure that we're getting our brand out there and people know about us and know what kind of deals we're advertising, what kind of promotions, what kind of anything, etc. So we'll be loading up on certain days, but again, it still totals out to be the percentage total. So, and that for events is around 7,500, and then for email marketing, we're looking at 5,000, newspaper 10,000, and then radio at 5,000. And this all totals out to equal our 50,000 that we've allocated, and it equals out to be 100% of our actual thing, which is $50,000.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. We will include additional resources in the description, and we hope you have a wonderful day.